This one is about business finances, and I'm going to share with you my financial tech stack that I use at my businesses. Number one is QuickBooks. Love it or hate it, QuickBooks seems to be the de facto standard, and it's hard to avoid QuickBooks if you're dealing with accountants and tax people. That seems to be what everybody wants to use, and it is well worth your time, in my experience, to learn how to use it. It is a power tool with a lot of features, and it is a bit of a beast that does take some time to learn. Um, but learning your way around, learning how it works, learning double entry accounting, journal entries, and all of the other things, um, how to read the P&L, the balance statement, that all lives in QuickBooks Online for us. And um, yeah, it is sort of the end place where all of the numbers end up, and it's pretty critical. Dext is parsing invoices and receipts, matching the vendors and suppliers and customers on those things, and uh, categorizing it and pushing it into QuickBooks. And it works pretty well. No complaints there. It does a good job of parsing things fairly quickly and getting things right. Um, and it is a time saver for that. The next thing, more e-commerce related than anything else, this is A2X, and it is a platform that does a uh, pretty good job, pretty automated. There's not a, once you set it up, there's not a whole lot to do, but what happens in e-commerce is the Shopify or your payment processor deposits the money into your bank. You see that transaction come in, but behind that number of what the deposit is, there is a whole bunch of other costs and revenues that go into that number. So, how much commissions were charged to you, how much revenue, sales, the top line numbers, how much credit card fees did you pay, what were the returns, how many free items were given out, um, those sorts of costs and revenues. We want to track all of that in QuickBooks to know what our returns cost us, what the platform fees cost us, how much inbounds cost, and break that out on QuickBooks side. So A2X takes that deposit, splits it out into the component costs, and imports the journal entries into the ledger so that we can see how that number actually is composed of in the underlying transactions. Um, Very helpful. We use that for Shopify and Amazon. It does not cover everything that we do. So we do have some custom software that sort of helps with some of those numbers in a semi-automated way in some cases. But we have some custom stuff that we've developed to interface with the platforms that aren't covered by A2X, and it is modestly helpful with uh, sort of doing that or helping to manage the workload with that process, as well as some reporting things that we couldn't get within QuickBooks itself or other platforms where we wanted to combine numbers in different ways that we couldn't do before. So a little bit of custom stuff. Then we've got Google Sheets, great for doing some financial modeling, ad hoc stuff that is not really important enough or well defined enough to do custom software with. Google Sheets is great because it's very easy to share it with other people within or outside of the company. And that's really the main benefit over something like Excel is it's a little bit easier to share a Google Sheet with somebody. So we make pretty good use of Google Sheets, both financially and other things, project management, that sort of stuff. So it is a Very flexible tool that gets some good use. Then Notion is another one that we use. Notion is the repository for all of our SOPs and playbooks. It is pretty critical, especially within finance, where there's processes that happen weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annually, as well as ad hoc things that sometimes come up more than others. But how do you calculate COGS? How do you file sales tax in California or the minimum tax in California? How do you um, do the Canadian taxes or uh, the end of the month closing of the books, the various platforms? How do you get the numbers from them? There's lots of uh, processes, and it's pretty important that we do them the same all the time. And for that, documentation is pretty critical, and Notion is the place where we do that. And the last piece on my tech stack for the finances is the banks themselves. Um, we've sort of moved away from the traditional big banks and gone to some of the new sort of tech enabled banks. They have pretty solid tooling for either integrating to QuickBooks or the flexibility to add or remove credit card numbers to the account, virtual cards, so that we can give out cards to different people on the team easily without having to do a whole bunch of other things involved there. So that has been very helpful to just manage the banking and create accounts and organize the finances on an account by account basis. And specifically, we're using Relay in the US and Vault in Canada. Pretty happy with both of those. And so that's basically the big pieces of our financial tech stack. And that's it for this journal entry, the Daily Founder Fuel. Um, and if this format is interesting, the prompts sound intriguing, something that you would value from thinking about in your business, head on over to dailyfounderfuel.com, sign up. I send out one journal prompt per day, something like this one, that gets you thinking about how you run your business, why you run your business, and how to run it better, or at least be a little bit more conscious about the business decisions you make. Cool. That is it and a wrap for today. We'll see you on the next one. Like and subscribe.